Hey everyone, welcome to the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, Mario Heron, talking Charger football with you for the next 45 to 60 minutes. Again, a lot going on in the off season. It seems like, guys, every time we start one of these shows, we're doing a little bit of quarterback talk. Last week, of course, it was Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers. And now you find out again, quarterback talk, what's going on with the New England Patriots, as rumors have come out that Mac Jones has been on the block, that the Patriots are looking to upgrade their position or change the position out, and that Mac Jones is possibly done in New England. Does that surprise you guys?
Yeah, considering he made the Pro Bowl his rookie year. Who do you want Mac Jones to throw the ball to last season? Seriously, I know I'm an Alabama guy. I'm wearing the freaking shirt right now.
Nice.
Mac Jones had nobody to throw the ball to in the toughest division in the NFL, going against the Jets, who had a great defense. Dolphins had a solid defense, and you know what the Bills' defense is. What do you want him to do? You're going to quit on a guy that made the Pro Bowl as a rookie? Yeah, he hasn't been great the last 2 years. He wasn't lighting the world on fire. But who do you think you're going to find that's better? I don't think there's anybody out there right now that would replace Mac Jones and play better with the roster that they have currently.
I've never been a big Mac Jones fan. I thought he was, when we did our most overrated, I mentioned him before. I know he's a Bama guy. He got screwed this past year big time. Got Matt Patricia as offense coordinator, which isn't good. Like you said, didn't have a lot of weapons. But at the end of the day, I'm just not sold that he can perform and that he's that great of a QB. I think the Pro Bowl has become anyone can have it moment where it's like the top guys aren't going to do it, aren't going to play. So when we look back on history, we're going to see Mac Jones with the Pro Bowl, Derek Carr with the Pro Bowl this past year. We're going to go, how the hell did this happen? This doesn't make any sense. And it's going to lose its value. It's going to lose its, achievement possibility, and honestly going to lose its value in determining if you're a Hall of Famer or not because of situations like this with Mac Jones. I'm not a believer in Mac Jones. I think they should shop him around. I think you should go ahead and dump him. I'm just not sold on him. When someone goes from 22 passing touchdowns to 14 the next year to a very much lower passing yards total in the year, almost down a full 1,000 passing yards from the first year to the second year, that's not a good sign. His QBR drops big time from 56.9 to 36.1 in his second year. I'm not sold on him at all. I wasn't sold on him in the beginning. Now in the NFL, to be a good QB, you got to be able to throw and you got to be mobile. Can he really do that? Did he look at Bama? Yes, he did. Look at that receiving core. You could stab me my left eye and break one of my arms, and I could probably get 200 passing yards still with those receivers. Like, that's just the bottom line of it. I'm not a Mac Jones fan. Never been a big Mac Jones fan. I think it's smart for the Patriots. I think why not just go, hey, let's just press a hard, quick reset real quick.
All right, we're going to start the show this way. You woke up this morning and chose hate? Is that the way you went?
I've been waiting for this.
Okay, I don't think you could be more wrong. I'm not saying Mac Jones is a Hall of Famer, but I'm going to say this. Mac Jones had no talent. As a matter of fact, he had the worst talent in the whole NFL. I can't name an NFL roster that was worse than the Patriots. He by far had the worst coach. His head coach is a defensive guy who never even thinks about offense, and then he stuck him with a defensive coordinator that was never coached offense. You gave the guy zero chance of having any success. Yeah, at Alabama, did he have better receivers? He had Jalen Waddle and he had Dante Smith. He actually had great players. Or Devontae Smith, sorry. And then you sit there and you look at what he has with the Patriots, and nobody can even name a Patriots receiver. What, Nelson Aguilar, who's not even on the team anymore? There was zero talent around him, as Josh said, in the toughest division. Here's my thing with Mac Jones and NFL quarterbacks. We did our tiers of NFL quarterbacks of guys we thought were good, top 10 caliber guys. To me, guys, he falls maybe 15 to 17, which isn't great. But at the same time, when you talk about what you need to have success and win championships, the Patriots are so far off from being one of those teams. The one thing Mac Jones does that's in a positive for me is he's extremely accurate, which is important. And two is he doesn't turn the ball over a ton when you give him a quality team. But, man, you had zero roster. I'm not a Mac Jones apologist and saying because he's an Alabama guy. I'm not even going to pull the Alabama card. I'm just looking to see a guy that isn't the reason for your team losing. The reason the Patriots lost, in my opinion, is lack of talent. And maybe Bill Belichick has missed the boat. Maybe it's gone. Maybe everything at Bill Belichick's magic is out the door, and the great coach that he was, maybe the NFL changed too fast for Bill Belichick. And if I'm Mac Jones, I'm like, go ahead, chop me. Get me out of here. The first team I think of where Mac Jones should go is the Atlanta Falcons. Guarantee he's better than Ritter. And by the way, Mac Jones beat the crap out of Justin Fields in the national championship game.
Oh, shut up.
Ohio
Shut
State didn't
up.
have good wide receivers.
Shut
I'm
up.
sorry. Ohio State was loaded with wide receivers.
Compare the
Loaded.
defenses. Compare the
And
defenses.
Justin Fields couldn't dunk you at the county fair. Don't give me that crap. Mac Jones was better than him. It wasn't even close.
Oh, yeah. Quick rebuttal here before you go, Josh. Who had a better year last year, Fields or Mac Jones? And who had a worse roster? I would argue Fields.
You
I'd
think
argue
so?
Fields. It's a strong argument. It could be Fields. Very strong argument. A slot receiver being number one target is not ideal.
Who was the number one target for the Patriots?
Jacoby
Myers.
Yeah, and he's not even on the team.
Because we're in free agency, dude. That's
Yeah, my point is, if he was so damn good, they would have kept him. They let him walk off.
They also let a lot of good guys walk. That's
None
Bill.
of those guys were good guys.
He let JC Jackson walk.
None
What do
of
you
those guys were
mean?
good.
He let Brady walk.
Brady was 40 something, and JC Jackson obviously sucks.
What were you gonna say, Josh? What were you gonna say?
I just said Mac Jones falls into the rare situation that he gets worse talent when he goes to the NFL. Who did he throw to at Alabama? Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. Who are his running backs? Brian Robinson, Najee Harris, Damian Harris, the lead running back for the Patriots, was the only guy he had from
Who's now on the
Alabama that was any
Bills.
good on the. Yeah, he's now on the Bills, and he's the only guy that did anything along with Ramondre Stevenson. Yeah, nobody throw the ball to. I'll give you the argument that the Bears might have been worse, but that's why they have the number one pick. Mac Jones was set up for failure from the beginning with Matt Patricia being his coach. I just don't like anything the Patriots do. It kind of reminds me of the situation right now in the NBA with Greg Popovich. He loses all those star players. Now look at the Spurs. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA. It's kind of the same thing with the Patriots. If Mac Jones leaves, I hope he finds success somewhere else. And I hope the Patriots fail, because you cannot continue to draft poorly and expect to win. And even when they were winning, they were drafting poorly. Besides a few great picks in Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez was good for a little bit, but besides Rob Gronkowski and a few other guys, they've been terrible at drafting, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It's actually amazing how good Tom Brady was with how bad they drafted in all those years he was quarterback there.
Okay, I agree with that. Where Bill's not the best drafter. Brady pushed hard from Moss. Like, there's little things that Bill wasn't the best at. I do believe that there's a strong argument you can say Bill's lost his fastball a little bit. It's not the most prominent figure in football as it used to be. But at the same time, Bailey Zappi came in and played pretty damn well. And there was a huge debate on if it should be Zappi or Jones. And there's many times this year where it was in New England and there was cheering for Zappi. I'm not saying that Zappi's a 10 times better than QB than Mac Jones. I'm not saying Mac Jones should have been benched. I'm saying is that there was another QB who had 1 year less of experience that did better with the talent that was there. Now, just thinking of that, not fall in love with the type of QB Mac Jones is right now and what is required to be in this league, to me, it just screams, why not move on in a very talented QB class? Why not move on? What are the trade-up possibilities? I don't think Mac Jones is worth the first round. I could think maybe you could pray to God and go to church on Easter and maybe he'll bless you with a second round pick somehow. I think you get a third out of him. I just think if you're going to move on from him, I don't think it's that bad of an idea with someone like Lamar Jackson possibly on the table. That would be a better, smarter play. And guess what? You have a QB that's up with the times right now. Get with the times. Let's not, wear baggy shorts. Not like it's 2004 when everyone's wearing 7-inch shorts now. Come on. Let's not freaking do that. Let's be with it. Let's kind of go with the league. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Mac Jones is the league. If he had better weapons, yes, he'll probably have a little bit better outcome. Yes, he needs a better offensive coordinator. And yes, he has a better one in O'Brien this year. But tell me if I'm wrong. This is also the guy that Bama was pissed off at. So it's like, how big of a
It
jump are you
is.
expected to make? Yeah. So it's, I don't know. In Boston too, which is not the most forgiving fan base, I would say, get him out of there. See you, buddy.
I think
Pack
it'd
up
be
the
good for
bags.
both sides to get him out. I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, you don't want to bring a quarterback in that knows who's on the block. That means the organization doesn't approve of you. You aren't their first choice. They're looking for something else. They wouldn't have shopped him if they didn't think it wasn't okay for him to leave. I mean, when I look at other NFL teams and teams that I think would be better off with him, Atlanta's the first team that jumps to my mind just because it's a Southern team. And obviously he's from Florida, Josh, and then went to school at Alabama. Am I right on that? I mean, get him
Yep.
closer to home. Go ahead, get him indoors where weather's never going to be a factor like it is in New England. But you got to get him coaching and you got to give him talent. You got to do something. And in New England this year, when you're picking that division, nobody's picking the Patriots number 1 to win that division. I don't know anyone who's picking the Patriots not to finish in last place in that division. I mean, that is an extremely tough division where every team you can make an argument has possibly gotten better except for the Bills, right? And the Patriots are garbage. The Jets are obviously going to be improved. Everyone's thinking that all of a sudden they're a Super Bowl team if they ever pull off this Aaron Rodgers trade. And the Miami Dolphins are a contender. So what does that do for Mac Jones? Is he just going to sit there and drown his career in New England? I don't think it's good for either one of those guys to be there, for Mac to be there or for the Patriots to keep him. I think it's time and good idea to probably move him out and see what he can do and what kind of guy he is. Again, he might end up being a career backup quarterback. That's where you see him, right? He's a career backup. He's not a starter in the NFL.
No, Colt McCoy.
And for me, I kind of rank him in that 15 to 17 range as far as quarterbacks go. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think there's some teams where I'd say I would take Mac Jones over the guy they currently have.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think he's somewhere around the 20 range right now. So the next story is that Jalen Carter says he's not going to meet with teams that are outside of the top 10. I love this story. I love when guys make these bold, outrageous opinions. Like, first off, Jalen Carter is a good football player. He is not Will Anderson. If you're not that level of greatness that Will Anderson is, I know, once again, Alabama fan, Will Anderson's the best player in the draft. If you're not that great, dude, you meet with everybody. You just do it. It's the right thing to do. It shows maturity. It shows you're not an idiot. And him not meeting at the top 10, if I'm an NFL team, I say, I don't want a guy like this. I don't want an I guy in here, a guy that's just not smart enough to know what the right thing to do is. Do you guys agree with me?
You want me to go first, Dave?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. God, we're 0 for 2 to start the day. I disagree with you. I think he should talk to 10 or less teams for the sole reason of everything that has happened to Carter in like the past couple of months. Like, football aside, that's like pretty hard to go through mentally. So I think sitting him down in front of over 10 teams and just getting challenged mentally over and over again probably isn't the smartest thing if you're his agent or just in his crew. Be going like, this is probably not the best if he's getting interviewed and like just pressured by so many different people. If we can take it down a notch, let's take it down a notch. And not to mention, I completely agree with you. Will Anderson's the best player in this draft, like by freaking far. I'm in love with the guy. I mean, he's going to be an incredible football player. But Jalen Carter, we all know he's a top 5 talent. He's top 10. If he falls out of the top 10, that's a sin. So if I'm him and I'm his camp, if I'm his agent, I'm going, hey, I don't want you around a lot of people right now. I would prefer it if you just did like 5 interviews and we killed all 5 and you did a really great job. I'd rather have that than we're batting 30% going on 20,000 different interviews. There's more rumors about you because there's more interviews. I'd rather keep it small. Okay. Aim small, miss small, like that's what I would be if I'm Jalen Carter. Like, this is the best way to keep you up, keep your head on straight, and to keep you going into the draft.
If you're an NFL team and you want to schedule an interview with them, what question are you going to ask? What's the question? Hey, what are the chances you're going to drag race again? I mean, what question are you asking this guy?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, honestly, if I'm an NFL team and I'm thinking of taking Carter, the only thing I'm looking at is I'm going to contact the Atlanta and Georgia police and I'm going to go, hey, what is the deal? What are the chances this guy even plays for us? Is he going to end up in prison? That's all I care about. When I draft this guy, is he available to my team? Because the chances of this guy doing this again aren't very good unless he's just the dumbest guy on the planet. He's not a good decision maker. But you know what this reminds me of? When guys like this fall, and you, as you said, Mario, he's a top 5 talent, probably number 1 overall would have been if he would have not gone crazy. And of course that horrific incident happened. He reminds me of when Warren Sapp, who's before your guys' time, who's a Hall of Famer and fell, I think, to number 7 to the Buccaneers. And everyone thought Warren Sapp was going high until right before the draft, when I think he got busted for testing positive for marijuana. And then Larry Tunsil, another bad decision making. Guess what? Larry Tunsil, highest paid left tackle in the league, and it's on his way to Canton, Ohio. I mean, so it's your idea to say, do I want to take a chance on a guy like Carter and go, man, if we pass on him because we're looking for the guy that's going to show up on Tuesdays at Children's Hospital, or are we going to sit there and say, we're going to draft the best football player on the board? So I don't know how many interviews I'm doing either. I know he's pissed off, but he's pissed off at the wrong people. He should be angry at himself, and his agent should be angry at him for costing him a ton of money. There's no question for me to ask if I'm an NFL team, because I've seen the tape. I know the guy's a dominating football player, but I need to talk to the authorities to go, is this guy going to be available to our organization before we give him millions and millions of dollars of first round money and see what's going to happen there. But there's nothing that guy could say to me in an interview that's going to win me over. Like I'm going to forget what happened. We all know it was a horrible situation in Georgia.
That's just one of my things. And I agree with you. Obviously, Mario, we disagree. But if you're mad at somebody when it's your fault, you should just be mad at yourself. I hate when people take out their anger on, I'm just not going to talk to other people. I just want to focus on myself. Dude, if you focus on yourself, you wouldn't be putting yourself in this situation. So don't try to make these outrageous statements like you're not going to talk to teams outside the top 10. Like I said, you should show some maturity and talk to other teams and prove that you're not an idiot. Okay, because half the people at Georgia say, hey, he's a great guy. And then you see these reports that come out. Which one is it? Prove to us that you can handle the conversation. And if we're going to throw millions of dollars your way, are you going to make it work? Are you just going to be an idiot over and over and over again? I want to see that if I'm an NFL team. I agree. If he didn't get in trouble, he probably would be a top 3 pick. But right now, if I'm an NFL team,
he's supposed to go number 1. I mean, he was supposed to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft, according to all the boards, until the trade came down, right? That he was supposed to go number 1. All right, real quick, as far as he goes, because I don't want to jump off this right away. But with Jalen Carter, if he fell to the Chargers and they drafted him, would you be upset?
I wouldn't be upset. I'm actually a huge fan of taking the best player. Like when a guy drops that far, like Derwin James did a few years ago when the Chargers got him, I love that. If you can get a top talent that drops, you got to take that guy.
Dude, yeah. Give me on a first flight to LA. I'd be ecstatic, dude. Are you kidding me? If Jalen Carter fell all the way to the Chargers, are you kidding me? I'd go get under Mac's wing and let's ride. Let's go win the freaking ring. Like that I would go insane. I think if any team that gets him as he falls, besides off the field crap and everything's going through, that's a steal. That's a win. That's a win. You gotta roll the dice with that talent. Roll the dice. If he falls below 7, roll the freaking dice. Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
I could see the Titans taking him. Honestly, God, I could see the Titans grabbing him. There are a bunch of teams. Whoever gets him, if he clears everything by the law, they stole a player. Really, it's like having the number 1 overall pick. You stole a player. Now, here's the question I also have for you guys. Do you think Jalen Carter is aware? Has to be aware, is what I feel, that he's being followed right now? I mean, he's been followed 24/7 the second he leaves that house or apartment, wherever he's living, by NFL security. I know this is how it works out. When a team is interested in a guy, let's say, whoever wants Bryce Young or Stroud, any of these guys, their teams have their own private security following these guys around. Every single thing they do before draft day. That might be something that maybe NFL fans don't understand. It happens all the time. There's a kid that lives across the street from me, was a top baseball player in the nation a couple years ago. He wasn't aware that there were cars parked outside of his house. Every time he left to go to a fast food place or go to the beach, they followed him everywhere he went before the draft to make sure this guy was clean. You're going to be the face of an organization. They're going to follow you around. You think he's aware that he's been followed around?
I don't know. I mean, Odyssey did the same thing towards me when they were like trying to figure out if they're going to give me a job or something. And it was weird, but we got over it together as a family. So I think he does have, because he's been at Georgia, I think he does have that feeling. I think he is aware because it's Georgia. Like, if you don't think Kirby Smart was doing a little bit of the same thing, if you don't think that whole state was doing a little bit of the same thing with him, yes, I think he's very much used to it. I think he's very much used to the process. When you go to a school like that, at that magnitude, where you're not a college team, you're a professional team, let's just be honest. Yes, I think he's well aware. It's just in terms of, are you going to buy into it? Are you going to realize the situation are you in, or are you going to throw a pity party? Just two different directions you want to take, and it's up to you.
Do you think every time a private security guy is following him, Josh, he looks at him at a red light and goes, "Let's go"? There's these guys.
Probably, dude. Not a great decision maker. All right.
Not a good decision maker.
No, not at all. So Cam Newton comes out and says that he's willing to back up a list of quarterbacks. I think it's 12 quarterbacks that he named that he'd be willing to back these guys up. And it's, to me, it's the most random assortment of quarterbacks. I feel like he just picked these guys out of a hat almost, and it's like, I'll back this guy up. And I'll just read the list here.
Yeah, go through the teams.
Yeah.
Okay. He said Lamar Jackson. Okay, doesn't know what team he's going to be on. Josh Allen, Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson, Tua, Jalen, Malik Willis, who's not really even a starter, Sam Howell. Sam Howell was the one that I was like, I guess he just wants to take his job. And then Aaron Rodgers, who's not even on a team yet. I just don't. Cam Newton's one of those guys I've never really understood. Probably in the conversation as the best college football player that I've ever seen, but always was weird to me. The way he does that font on Instagram, anybody that follows Cam or seen Cam Newton on social media, he does everything in a weird font. Everything he does to me just always seems a little bit off. Do you guys feel like Cam Newton is just kind of all over the place?
Go ahead, Mario.
Dude, he keeps thinking he's Cam Newton in 2016. And hey, I would love to believe that too. I would love to believe I was half the player I was in 2017 playing whatever sport. But here's the reality, sweetheart. You're far from it. You're very far from it. You can barely throw the football 20 yards downfield. You don't stand on any leg to, like, the fact that he's a guy that got cut from the team that he was their superhero. He brought them back. He took them to a Super Bowl. The fact that he got cut and then he's going to come out with a list of teams going, well, if I were to play, I'd play for these teams. Dude, numbnuts. Who cares? Who the hell cares? No one wants you. No one wants you. I can sit here and give you a list of teams I would love to play for in the NFL. But here's the reality. No one's going to want me on their team. That's one thing with Cam Newton is, dude, you're listing all these things, acting like your phone's getting rang. No, the phone's not ringing. The phone's not ringing. Maybe to do a couple podcasts, then your phone's ringing. Maybe for a couple fashion shows, then your phone's ringing. But for the NFL, it is not ringing. Cam Newton went from one of my favorite people to watch the NFL and one of my favorite players to, honestly, a complete 180, just in terms of, dude, realize the stage you are at. Realize where you're at. Realize that your best days are gone. Realize that. And that's okay. You know, you're never going to be good as you once were. Like, that's fine. Close the book. That's my problem. It's like, dude, realize the stage that you're at. And that's going to be better for you and be better for the team that you're going to join. And that's my whole thing with Cam Newton.
All right. For me with Cam, I'm not a Cam fan at all. Okay. And it wasn't always one of those guys that disliked Cam. Matter of fact, I thought Cam took more abuse at playing the quarterback position than a lot of guys. And I agree with the complaints when this, I mean, he's taking hits where if it was Tom Brady, those are flags, you know, and maybe because Cam Newton's size that people thought, well, he can take the hits. He can absorb all those hits. But for me, you know, Cam Newton did, you know, three things that bothered me. One is he went to Auburn. Can't stand Auburn. That's minor. That's just my problem. Two is, this is a big one. Okay. This is the biggest thing ever. And for me as a sports fan, I want to believe that winning means everything to you, like it does to me. If I'm going to put 3 hours of my time every weekend, I'm going to think about the game on Sunday. Like, you know, I shouldn't, like, you know, I'm preparing for the game because I'm so into, is the team going to win this week? And getting to a Super Bowl and winning a Super Bowl is everything. The play where I said I'm done with Cam Newton was in the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos. and there was a fumble and the ball's on the ground and he won't jump on the ball. He was too worried about getting hurt to jump on the ball. It was everything. It locked up the game. It was the Super Bowl. Panthers haven't been back since. Panthers have only been to 2 Super Bowls in their franchise history. It's embarrassing. As a sports fan, if I was a Carolina sports fan, I would never forgive him for that play. And for me, as a guy who watches the NFL, man, I'm not a fan. Third thing Cam Newton does, when this is just a me problem again, is I hate the fact that he spends $50,000 a week on his outfit. I think it's ridiculous that he walks in and has to have the camera on him. I always like the athletes that say, I'm going to wear the hoodie or the hat and go like I'm dressed right now, actually, and just go screw it. Why would I throw $50,000 away times 17 every week when you know that when you're driving into that stadium? For me, again, I'm seeing all these poor families. I'm like, dude, I'd be the greatest guy on the planet if I said, guess what? I'm making a statement. I used to dress in $50,000 outfits every week, but I'm taking that $50,000 and I'm donating it to so-and-so charity, Children's Hospital, whatever it is. But I'm making the community that I play for better. The fan base would love you, but instead you're just selfish, Cam, and you aren't that talented. And talked about Mac Jones being an accurate passer. Cam Newton's never been an accurate passer. He's been a guy with freakish ability. The list that you just read, Josh, a second ago, it's bizarre because it goes both ways. It goes into put me on a team where I can just win a Super Bowl ring to just be part of the ride, or it puts me in a situation where I think the guy in front of me is likely to get hurt, like Lamar Jackson, and I have a chance to play. Like he didn't pick one way or another. He didn't pick the avenue of get me the Super Bowl ring, and he didn't pick the avenue of I want to play. He went kind of both ways. So it's a very, very strange list. I can't think of an NFL franchise that would have won him. Do you think Josh Allen wants to be in a quarterback room with this guy? Aaron Rodgers wants to be in a quarterback room with this guy? I mean, dude, he's a joke. He's a freaking joke, man. Not
Dude,
a fan.
you probably wouldn't want to be in a coffee shop with him, let alone a
I
quarterback.
don't want to
room.
be in a coffee shop. I don't trust guys who wear hats with feathers in them.